Good morning, everyone. Very good morning. And just before we start, quick thing. So this is kind of an icebreaker session. So if you have the human translation challenge sheet with you, it should encourage you to go around, meet new people, and find out the the diversity of people here and figure out what they would know about translation and language and how it will help. So we would like this to be done by lunchtime. So if you have this sheet in your hand, during sessions, between sessions, make sure that you go around and meet new people. And more importantly, try to figure out the concept behind this. And if you do not have the sheet, Shrestha is going around, and if you, she's right at the back, so you can put up your hand. There's somebody in the front, and they will give you the sheet. Yes. Okay, let's get things started. Good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to see so many curious faces here today. And I say curious in the best possible way. When you put a room full of scientists, journalists, and communicators together, you don't just get data, you get drama, deadlines, and the occasional existential crisis about what font to use on your PowerPoint slide. But more than that, you get what I would like to refer to as the front lines of understanding. Each of you, whether you hold a fountain pen, one of those tiny fluffy mics, or a phone camera, or a micropipette, is here because you help make sense of the world when it doesn't make sense. Now, we're gathered here at a fascinating time, an era where information travels faster than light, but trust sometimes lags behind sound, when the loudest voices aren't necessarily the most accurate ones. Our feeds are flooded, our attention spans are measured in seconds, and our truths, well, they come with a citation needed tag. So what do we, the chroniclers of evidence, do next? That's exactly what this year's theme asks of us. Science solutions journalism in a fragmented world. We're not just here to point out what's broken. We're here to highlight what's being fixed, who is fixing it, and why it's working. Because let's face it, hope doesn't make the front page enough. From science journalists to policymakers, from educators to podcasters, from filmmakers to the occasional geneticist who insists that DNA jokes still haven't been sequenced properly. This is the room where India's science communications and its future takes place. Now, as someone who spends half his time decoding DNA and the other half decoding quiz questions, I can safely say science communication is a bit like genetic editing. You can't just cut and paste information. You need to make sure it expresses correctly. Otherwise, the mutation can go viral, literally sometimes. Now, over the next few days, you'll hear from voices who are documenting not just what went wrong, but what's going right. You'll discover how communities are responding to climate change, how innovations are reshaping public health, and how storytellers are cutting through polarization with evidence, and more importantly, with empathy. If that sounds like a lot, yeah, it is. Did you check the schedule? It's quite packed. But don't worry, we are all journalists, communicators, and researchers. If there's two things that keep us going, it's caffeine and curiosity. They are basically our base pairs. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Science Journalists Association of India 2025, where curiosity connects us, stories strengthen us, and solutions remind us why science still matters. My name is Bertie Ashley. I'm a molecular geneticist. I work with antisense oligonucleotides for genetic therapy. But my lab doesn't know that because they haven't seen me in lab in a couple of weeks because I've been going around the country doing quizzes in the name of science communication. So it's absolutely my pleasure and honor to be here and guide you through the process. I'll be your MC for the both days, but any point of time you see me around, please come forward. I'm lucky to be here and honored to be part of this. And to welcome you all, first I would like to call Raghavan Rangarajan, the Dean, the School of Arts and Sciences from the beautiful Ahmedabad University, who are our hosts, who are a wonderful host for both days. So may I request sir to come on stage, please.
Good morning to all of you and welcome to Ahmedabad University. My name is Raghu Rangarajan and I am a professor of physics and dean of the School of Arts and Sciences at Ahmedabad University. My area of research is cosmology. I study the very early universe, the processes that happen in the first microsecond after the Big Bang, and correlate that with what we see in the night sky today. I'm so happy that all of you are here today for this conference. Let me take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Ahmedabad University. We're a private research university set up in 2009 by the Ahmedabad Education Society. While we may be only 16 years old, the trust that set us up, the Ahmedabad Education Society, is about 90 years old and has been associated with the creation of many important academic institutions in this area, all within about a few kilometers of Ahmedabad University. In 1947, it created the Physical Research Laboratory, which was the birthplace of ISRO, where I worked for 20 years before coming to Ahmedabad University. In 1947, it also set up the Textile Research Institute at Tira. Arguably, one of the best architecture schools in this country is CEPT in Ahmedabad, which is right next door and still governed by the Ahmedabad Education Society. One of the earliest standalone colleges of pharmacy in Asia is the LM College of Pharmacy. If you throw a stone, actually please do not throw stones here, but if you did, it would hit LM College of Pharmacy. It's our neighboring institution. Also, while Ahmedabad Education Society did not directly create IIM Ahmedabad, it's the same people who created Ahmedabad Education Society who also created IIM Ahmedabad, which is again very close by to us. Besides that, it created a number of colleges and schools. So it has a history of creating academic institutions, the Ahmedabad Education Society. In fact, it not only created the ones that I mentioned, the largest public university in the state of Gujarat is Gujarat University, which is next door. Is on land donated by the Ahmedabad Education Society to the state to create a public university. This is very unlike most private trusts and institutions which often seek support from the government. This trust is very much about creating value in society and in the sphere of academia and research, and if at some point the organization is better served by being run by the government, it will just gift it to society and move on to creating the next institution. Ahmedabad University is the youngest institution created by the Ahmedabad Education Society. As a research university, we have been fortunate that we've been able to get scholars across disciplines who have been trained in the best places in India and abroad to carry out their research at Ahmedabad University. We provide, and all researchers know this is important, we provide the time, we provide the funds to the extent that we can, and we provide the facilities so our colleagues can carry out their research. As an academic institution, we have very innovative and challenging academic programs that are interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, flexible, and research-oriented at the bachelor's, master's, and PhD level. As a university, we are very clear that our undergraduates too must come into contact with people doing research, unlike the model in many other institutions in our country where it's only at the master's or more likely at the PhD level that you come into contact with people doing research. So someone teaching a PhD level course is also teaching Psychology 101 or History 101 or Physics 101. We're particularly delighted that Science Journalists Association of India has come to Ahmedabad University and brought this conference to Ahmedabad University. I think the topic of science solutions journalism in a fragmented world is particularly important in the context of a lot that's happening today. At Ahmedabad University, we have a very good faculty doing research and very strong programs in science and technology. Now, as researchers, we are creators of knowledge or discoverers of truth about nature. But that doesn't necessarily make us great disseminators of knowledge. Of course, we will write our papers, in top journals, and it will be read by our colleagues. But particularly since science and engineering research, both in India and globally, is funded by taxpayer money, it is our moral obligation that the outcomes of our research are shared with the general public. Moreover, as has already been mentioned, in today's day and age, misinformation seems to be traveling much faster than truth. And it's important for scholars in the sciences as well as in other disciplines to be part of the effort to debunk myths and to share what is true and what is correct. And this is where science journalists, journalists in general and science journalists in the context of science and technology play an extremely important role. We scientists may or may not be able to write or communicate well in a way that the layperson can understand. Moreover, we may not even fully appreciate the kinds of issues that the layperson is interested in. It could be about climate change and how it's going to affect livelihoods, or the role of AI in our lives. And the researchers and scientists working with science journalists can actually effectively communicate to the public about their concerns and about the issues that we are working on and the issues of concern to them. I also want to add one more point here. It's important that science journalism, science communication not happen only in English. It must happen in other languages as well. Most of us who are researchers, even if we do science communication, are often best equipped at doing it in English, but that's absolutely not enough in the context of India. And working with science journalists, we could use both the print, the digital media, as we were just discussing. Journalism today is not just about sharing information through the print media, it's also multimedia. And we could work with colleagues in the world of journalism to share information about so many interesting things that are happening in the world of research. At Ahmedabad University, we have colleagues working on many different areas. We have those who are looking at how climate change affects different species, humans and non-humans. We have friends who are working on non-invasive tests for oral cancer. We have friends and colleagues who are working on developing algorithms for quantum computers. Quantum computers are coming, or they've already come. You need new algorithms for them. You can't use the standard stuff that we've been using on the traditional classical computer. So we have colleagues working on that. So if you wish to collaborate with any of our colleagues on any of these topics, or if you have a topic of your interest and you need to find someone whom you can discuss it with, please do reach out to us. Also, if it's on issues related to science policy, science funding, how best science, or given the funding, how best it should be distributed, we colleagues are there, we scientists and researchers at Ahmedabad University are there to have a discussion, and you could then create an article based on that. I know some of you visited some of our labs over the weekend, and I hope in the next 2 days you have opportunity to know more about what we're doing at Ahmedabad University. I do realize that most of you will be busy in here, but since some of my colleagues are also participating in this conference, I hope you'll get a flavor of what's going on at Ahmedabad University. I'm sure the next 2 days are going to be extremely interesting, very informative, and there are going to be some very exciting conversations in this room, and more importantly, outside of this room, related to science, technology, journalism, communication. As I said earlier, I think the topic is particularly important, science solutions, science journalism in a fragmented world. And I look forward to 2 days of very exciting and engaging talks and panel discussions, workshops, etc. Once again, thank you very much, and welcome to Ahmedabad University, and do come back again. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghu. And yes, you have a beautiful campus, love the buildings, and I'll make sure that I do a tour of the place. Next to welcome us is somebody who's hosting us because she's a founder president of the Science Journalists of India and board director of the World Federation of Science Journalists. An absolute pleasure to welcome Shubhra on stage.
Thank you, Raghu. You've made my job easier simply because you've outlined what we must do. as science journalists, and also because you've been so open and outlined what scientists lack and what we can fill in the gaps with. So thank you Ahmedabad University, first of all, for being so lovely hosts, such beautiful campus, such beautiful labs. We've had a nice tour yesterday of some of your labs, and I'm sure many of us are coming back again. Friends of SJAI, welcome to the third conference of the Science Journalists Association of India. I am so happy that we've been able to pull it through to the third year standing. Funds have been difficult to get, and also the need for all of us to come and volunteer with SJAI has been wanting, but that's not what I start today's welcome address with. I want to make sure that each one of you, journalists, communicators, researchers with whom we work tirelessly through the year, also feel connected to the core of SJAI. And that connection is what we want to build, conference over conference. We meet once a year, but we want you to be taking part in the heart and soul of SJAI. Please come forward, volunteer your time, volunteer your efforts, and we are here to steer your ideas through to culmination in some way or the other. This is, of course, the age of doubt, as we have just heard. It is the age of fragmentation across the world. Journalists have a really tough time across the world. Journalists have a really tough job to do anywhere in the world, especially science journalists, because of the spread of misinformation, disinformation, and also because we are here as chroniclers of truth and as chroniclers of science and evidence. And we've not had days that were tougher, I would say that. In my 25 years as a science journalist, or maybe 28, that's not just to say that I'm aging, but also to point out that I think these couple of years have been the toughest for us to break into these silos of disinformation, which are not silos anymore. They are really getting bigger and bigger, and the hope that we bring with this year's conference theme is that we together as journalists, as communicators, as chroniclers of truth and evidence are able to get past some of these solid bodies of disinformation and misinformation. I'd like to urge all of us in the room, researchers, policymakers, scientists, journalist friends, and communicators to be able to stand up to these forces. SJAI will solidly back you wherever you need help, any kind of help, legal help, if that is what you're looking for, mental health help, if that's what you're looking for, and also help with navigating the world of science in India, which is sometimes can be impenetrable. Sometimes we don't get access to people we would like to quote in our stories, people we would like to, and everybody is not Ahmedabad University or as open as Ahmedabad University, that we get access to everything that we need. So, as has been the tradition at SJAI, there was no hooting when I came in today. So where's Shruti? Yeah. She's missing in action here. So, no, that was not for the hooting. What I wanted to say is the tradition has always been, we begin with Thanksgiving and we begin with the word of thanks. It doesn't come in the end. And for that, I'd love for my A team to come up on the stage, stand up and be counted for what you've done, achieved through these 3 years. So I'll have to call out the names. Let me see. Where are you guys? Where's Kushi? Where's Kadambari? Run, run. If you haven't met Kushi or Kadambari or heard their names, you've been living under a rock. Fabulous ops team, Kushi and Kadambari, and Neha in absentia. She's doing all the job back there from Hyderabad, trying to coordinate with everybody who's here in this hall today. The comms team, Shruti, Mrunal, and Rupsi in absentia back from Bangalore. You have to be faster. Yes. So all the glitzy social media posts and everything that you're seeing is that team. The SJAI governing body, Sahana, Karthik, hey Karthik, run. Virat, Shakur, and Neha again in absentia. All right, I think we have a photo up here. And let's get clicked first.
Okay, everyone,
Yeah. Very big round of applause for you. Thank you, folks. And of course, Ahmedabad University, Professor Chandra, who just said with one email, please come to Ahmedabad. And Raghu, of course, has been the backbone of this conference, arranging everything, and I get mails from him at hours that I wouldn't want to mention. So, so yeah. And Rahul Phatak, admin manager. Ujjwal Pratap and Tanvi from the comms team. And of course, the yummy food that you're going to have, Rahul Phale is the chef. So you will sample something that he's put together for all of us. For the travel, Shiv, of course, is not here. He greeted me when I landed in India with a monkey cap on in Delhi's smog at 5 a.m. And he's been instrumental in getting us all together here. And of course, the volunteers who've been so nice and come forward and tried to put together everything that needs to be done. So thank you very much. With that, I have two asks. One, anybody who hasn't joined SJAI as a member, please do. You can become a full member, an associate member, a corporate member. And that's not just because we want you to, we want the numbers. It's also because we want you to be coming in with the soul of a volunteer. All of us that you saw here are volunteers. We work tirelessly to make this event happen every year. And also things that happen in between these events. So if you have an idea, like I said, you have a home here for that idea, and we will try to bring it to fruition. So please join SJAI. And the second ask is, please make sure that you take back from this conference all that Raghu has just mentioned, and that is, how can we make this bridge with academia, researchers, scientists who are so brilliant in this country, but for the lack of this bridge, we haven't been able to tap into all the people that are doing such brilliant work across the country. And so I would like for all of us to take back this sense of purpose, this sense of getting to the people that you want. If your mails are not being answered, especially freelance science journalists, sometimes it's difficult. Just tap on us. Just tell us that we want these sources to open their mouths to us, open their labs up to us, and we'll make that happen. So, with those two things and those two asks, I welcome you all to the Science Journalists Association of India's third conference.